We finally know more about one of the last maps we didn't see so far in Battlefield 6, Manhattan Bridge. In this video today, we will see gameplay of Manhattan Bridge from the Tokyo Game Show for Battlefield 6. We will compare how Manhattan Bridge compares in sizes to other maps, and then we will in detail look at the 3D overview of the map. Let's start with the gameplay. Just a heads up, I decided to mute the Tokyo Game Show clips because this is in fact a live match that they're playing on the show and the casters are speaking Japanese at all times. So you and me are gonna look for clues muted. We can see that Empire Bridge is another smaller type of map that Battlefield 6 seems to follow, with the maps at least we played during the beta. However, its size might be deceiving. It's a bit larger than Empire State we played during the beta, as we will compare Empire Bridge to all the maps a little bit later. So stick around for that. The UI also remains largely unchanged, and I'm assuming this build they're playing right now in Japan in Tokyo live show is maybe a build which is gonna be closer to launch than the stuff we played in Battlefield Labs and the stuff we played during the Battlefield 6 open beta. I was also looking for clues, maybe of some new weapons they're using, but the weapons also look largely similar to what they were in the beta and the same stuff they're using in Battlefield Labs. I have to admit though, I really like how the vibe of this map feels. If there was a hardline map I could put in Battlefield 6, I'm guessing it would be Manhattan Bridge for sure. Here is Manhattan Bridge in comparison to all the other maps, and we can see that it's bigger than most of the maps we played during the Battlefield 6 open beta, such as Iberian Offensive, Cairo, Empire State, and even in size I think you can say it's maybe even bigger than Liberation Peak, because Liberation Peak is kinda shaped like a slug and Manhattan Bridge is a bit more condensed. In fact, if you look at New Sobek City, which people dubbed to be one of the largest maps in Battlefield 6, you can see that Manhattan Bridge is kinda larger even than New Sobek City. So we can put Manhattan Bridge, I would say, in maybe medium-sized maps for Battlefield. A good amount of people on social media have dubbed Manhattan Bridge to be the new Siege of Shanghai or Dawnbreaker of the Battlefield franchise. Why? Because we have access to pretty similar amount of vehicles we had back on those legendary urban maps. We have access to one helicopter, one main battle tank, LV, and then a couple of transport vehicles, making this map definitely have resemblance to the older maps. I would say that Siege of Shanghai and Dawnbreaker will probably be some of my favorite maps in Battlefield 4 as somebody who liked driving tanks. In BF4, I think the urban maps fit this vehicle gameplay a bit better than they do in a huge open wasteland like, let's say, Hourglass from Battlefield 2042. What was your favorite map from Battlefield 4? And if it was Siege of Shanghai and Dawnbreaker, how do they compare to Manhattan Bridge in size comparison, and what do you think overall fun? Let me know down in the comment section. If we deep dive into the 3D overview of Manhattan Bridge, we can see that, at least on Conquest, it is a map which will feature 5 flags, similar to all the other Conquest maps in Battlefield 6 so far. The meat of the map seems to be in the middle, where there is some type of a skyscraper or a tall building. Perhaps, since we now know that we can collapse massive skyscrapers like they did in the campaign 2 days ago, maybe this is gonna be some type of evolution event here as well. This is why people have dubbed this to be mini Siege of Shanghai. As you can see, it has definitely that resemblance from the 3D map overview. If you look at the roads and the maps, we can see a massive amount of variety to approach different flags. From flanking routes to maybe even rooftop bailing if we can go on those rooftops. It is unknown still whether you can actually enter many of these buildings other than this one in Charlie. I have heard from people who were watching the entire Tokyo Live Game Show that you can actually enter this Charlie building. So perhaps that's gonna be where the helicopter comes into play to try to farm up all the infantry who is camping on Charlie, just like it was in the good old days. I'm thinking now, because we do have Portal available to us and map editor, I'm sure people are gonna make Siege of Shanghai, and then we can finally compare how Siege of Shanghai looks next to Manhattan Bridge. I will admit here, from what I have seen of Manhattan Bridge, I think so far it is probably my most favorite map of Battlefield 6, and this is without even playing it. Just I can tell by the looks, by the map flow, by the aesthetics of it, it's gonna be that map which goes into my repertoire. The Manhattan Bridge gameplay from the Tokyo Live Game Show was received very positively by the Battlefield community, which is good. What wasn't received positively, however, was of course the campaign. I made my own video yesterday talking about the campaign, where I pointed out the issue with some of the visuals as well as the absolute brain dead AI. If you still haven't watched the video, I will leave a link to that video in this video's description, so you can go check it out if you're bored. Basically, what they're comparing is one of the lead characters from the Battlefield 6 campaign next to Irish from the Battlefield 4 campaign. Here it is on the screen right now, and you can see that the visual visual fidelity of the new main character compared to Irish is completely pathetic. There's no shadows, there's no shine next to his skin like it is on Irish. The beanie is completely washed out. Irish's beanie is nice and rich and has this nice matte black color, while his beanie is just kind of washed out. And also the background, if you see the mountain in the back as well as the tree on his left, it all just looks very rushed, which is unsurprising to be fair, because we did have that article from a couple of months ago where they did say that the campaign is fully rushed and wasn't ready and was cancelled a million fucking times at this point. In fact, EA has shut down, I think it was Ridgeline Studios from Marcus Leto, the creator of Halo, so I'm pretty sure that was a pretty big setback. Many people in the community are now calling for a delay on the campaign because for them the experience was just not worthy of their time. How do you feel about the campaign? Did you see many of the leaks of the campaign and the gameplays? Would you wanna buy the campaign or would you play it only if it's free to play? Let me know down in the comment section. Yesterday I ran a poll and I asked you what interests you the least in Battlefield 6, and here are the results. Portal comes in with 50%, followed by the campaign at 25%, Battle Royale at 49%, and then the Gauntlet mode within the Battle Royale at 11% at 1.4k votes, 36 comments and 39 likes. Thank you everybody for voting. I was shocked by these results, to be fair. I didn't think Battle Royale would be the one which has the most amount of votes. I was under the impression people will care the least about the campaign or Portal, one of the two. But it seems the bad reputation of the Battle Royale just follows it wherever it goes. It doesn't really matter which franchise it is. In Battlefield we had Battle Royales before, of course in the form of Firestorm, which today of course is being looked at by those rose-tinted glasses and people saying it was good. I personally cannot give you my opinion about Firestorm. I've never played Firestorm because just like today, back then I didn't give a rat's about BR and I still don't give a rat's about BR. The Gauntlet mode is something which apparently many people didn't know what it was, because you were asking me what is the Gauntlet mode. This is a so-called quotation marks competitive mode within the Battle Royale. It's going to be like a 5v5 thingy where EA is going to try to maybe host some tournaments and have casters, and it's just going to be a bunch of marketing slop, well, is my opinion about it. And I'll be frank with you, I don't care about any of those 4 options that I've offered you in the poll. I only care about what you're watching on the screen: multiplayer. But if I had to pick one option which I think is probably the most relevant to Battlefield, the one which is the most Battlefield-esque, it would be of course Portal, especially now that we're getting a map editor in Portal. I know a bunch of map editors from Unreal Engine 2 and Unreal Engine 3 for games like Killing Floor 1 and Killing Floor 3 who are looking forward to just buying a copy of Battlefield so they can play Portal. Because if I'm not mistaken, you have to own a copy of Battlefield 6 multiplayer to even try to edit maps in Portal. So I'm thinking we might get some really crazy maps in Portal. It's gonna be the one thing I'm looking forward to. Because let's be honest here, what we want in Battlefield, at least what I want in Battlefield from content, from EA and DICE, is maps. But if we don't have to rely on them to receive some solid maps, let's say some 5 or 6 out of 10 maps, and we can make them ourselves or the community makes them, I think this is probably going to be the most relevant thing for Battlefield compared to BR, the Gauntlet, and that freaking campaign. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comment section. Leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you disliked it, subscribe if you were new here, and I'll see you guys in the next Battlefield video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ace signing out. Have a great weekend and bye bye.